And then also, and this is one that has been boiling in my body. It's been in my blood. I feel like gatekeepers they should use their positions to gatekeep culture. I know that might sound crazy, but I think
that statement alone, before you explain it, I just want to say that statement sounds absolutely ridiculous, and I'm appalled.
I know right now I sound so. I know I sound crazy, but sometimes I feel like culture needs to be gatekept.
Leo sapa tunakuladi Mpishi, bora tushibe. Mwiko refu tunafungadi mshipi, bora tupike. Kamba ya buta unaweza gongewa, hauna mbota na bado timing unatolewa. Bora Mpishi Mpishi bora shaolewa. Easy but niko easy ganji kitolewa.
Baby don't touch me there, me gonna wake you in the air. I me say touch me there, sugar down low find me there. Hakuna cha reverse nikisha kanyaga zini, I'm always on time. Kakunya zimefit kwenye nginyo ni magrill, feeling really high. I'm feeling best.
What's up, guys, and welcome to episode 123 of the 30% podcast. I go by the name Afamefuna. My co-host goes by the name Sam Jedediah Are, and we want to welcome you guys to this 123rd episode of the 30% podcast, which is the greatest podcast in East Africa, like we went through last podcast. Sam, how are you?
Yeah. Sure.
So you don't. So you don't agree that this is the best. So you don't agree that this is the best podcast in East Africa.
I'm a realist.
So you don't believe in yourself, is what you're saying. What you're telling the audience
that's not what I'm saying.
Is for them not to believe in themselves.
That's not what I'm.
You don't want them to believe in themselves.
How did you get that?
You don't
from?
want them to be confident in themselves.
How did you get that from? No, that's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is I like to look at reality. Verbatim. And I feel like reality tells us really important things about ourselves. And I think it's our duty to believe reality.
So would you say you're more objective in your view of the world?
Very
subjective.
Much more
Really? That's problematic, Sam, because I can give you examples as to how that could be problematic.
Okay, tell me how you're better than all of us.
What do you mean?
Because how is viewing things objectively worse than viewing things subjectively?
Because as a creative man, you need license to feel things, and that's and see things from your own perspective, and have that context kind of paint the picture as to why something is. So sometimes objectivity can be problematic because it doesn't take into account how other people feel, and some, that could
But I could argue that the world, objectivity provides just as much inspiration as subjectivity.
How so?
Well, if you look outside, the things that are and things that be are, how do I say this? For example, if you go hiking and you look at a mountain, the mountain objectively exists, and maybe there are trees on the mountain, and that's a thing that we observe. And then as an artist, you can write them. Or as a painter, you can paint those. You don't look at a tree and start painting aliens. Does it what?
Does it though? What if this is all a simulation? Like, what if my perspective of the mountain is different?
This is why I stay in reality, because...
What about my truth, Sam? What about my
truth? Your truth versus what about my truth? Yo, man, I'm doing all right. I start getting into my truth versus your truth. This is going to go left, and there will be no space to talk about music things. But yeah, anyway, I actually firmly don't believe in that whole my truth, your truth thing, but I have my reasons for it. Again, I don't want to be a bad guy. Apparently, if you believe in reality, you're a bad guy. So
Yo, let's not get political. I'm glad to hear you're right, bro. How has your week been?
Chilling. I am all right, man. I'm getting a little bit vulnerable, but a dad bod is starting to show up. So I've really started.
That's a lie. That's a lie.
No. I'm being serious. Like I'm starting to see dad bod. What do you call activities? Activities is the wrong word.
This is very frustrating
evidence,
to me.
Evidence of a dad bod without being one. It's ridiculous because now I'm like,
guys,
I'm really having to focus on what I'm eating, and I'm like going hard in terms of like exercises and whatnot, and just keeping my body fit. Because if at this stage of my life, if I do not pay attention, that's how 40, 50, 60 would show up, and then I'll be like, oh man, where did time go? And I'll be just firmly into that unfit category. So that's really been top 5 concerns. Sorry, you were sighing. What are you saying?
No, because it's annoying. Because you have no dad bod, bro. Sam has no, bro. Like I've seen this guy twice this week. There's no dad bod there. Like I don't know why he's here complaining.
There is, man.
He's here complaining and he doesn't even have a dad bod. Anyway,
no, I'm really. I need to get. In my younger days,
you
like
objectively do not have a
in
dad
high
bod.
school. In high school. Like fam, who am I? In high school, I was a lot more fit. But as the years go by, actually no, it's really just this. It's post-COVID. COVID has offended a lot of us.
If we're talking about
ways.
fitness, that's a different conversation because you may not be fit. That's fine, but you don't have
fine,
that's just my opinion.
It's not fine. And for me, those two things are somewhat. I'm not trying to look like Mr. What do you call it, Mr. Olympia. I just don't want to have the when I say dad bod, that what comes into your mind. I just don't want that. That's it. But apart from that, it's just been chill.
Girls are into dad bods, by the way, Sam. You need to get with the times. Girls love the dad bod.
People say that. I've yet to see one who is.
I know it's honest. Honestly, girls love the dad bod for real.
No, I don't believe that. I think that's what some people say.
Sometimes you need to take into account the female gaze, bro. Guys over here think girls just wanna listen. I know this is gonna sound crazy, but guys who are like in the gym, like they're getting buff. They're like, ooh, like, bro. I'm telling you, some girls like that stuff for sure, but like it's not like. That's like the overriding.
You know what I feel like?
What I mean?
I feel like that they just say that so that they can look down to earth.
Oh my god! I'm telling you, Sam. I'm trying to tell you something here. Anyway,
how are you?
What did you get up
That's
to?
Me.
Oh, me, I'm fine.
That's
me, I'm fine. Me, I'm fine. What did you get? What did you get up to?
No, nothing much. Earlier in the week, though, I was at. My timeline is confused, but I went out for a little bit of a listening party. Chris Barr invited me over for his listening party. He was part of a project by the producer SHLM, or SHLM, as he said. The project is called Hotbox. It was released this recent Friday. So we were out there, went to listen to the project and just experience it live. Experience the project live before anyone else does on the DSPs, in the digital platforms. So that was fun. It wasn't a very big thing. It was more, let me not say it wasn't big because that makes it sound negative. It was intimate. It was more of an intimate setting. A couple of people were in the room and there was food. Got there a little bit late, but you know how that goes. When you're late, you're early. Got there a little bit late, I think. I thought that it was already going on, but then it was on its way. The guys were just chilling outside, eating. There was some food, there were drinks, chilling, talking, catching up, And then we went in. It was very moody in there. First off, I went. At some point, I got tired of talking to people, so I went inside the room and just sat by myself, waiting for the thing to start, waiting for the listening party to start. And there was incense in there. Like they had just lit up.
Okay, shout out to
and
incense.
It was just
I like
incense.
that. I like it.
Incense in the air. it was interesting. Oh, yeah, it was interesting. And then the lights and everything. So it was just the vibe in there. They were playing. DJ was playing a little bit of music. Then when it started, they came. They talked about the project a little bit. Played the songs, all 9 of them. Yeah, which is what, a 29-minute runtime, 30 minutes runtime. They played the songs and then kind of just talked. You know how these things go? Talked about the project. Shalom gave us a breakdown of the inspiration behind it and, the length it took to make it and all that stuff. And then Chris Barr also talked about his perspective and being on the project and his offerings. And then, then there was a Q&A, which was fun. A couple of questions were asked and they answered. I don't remember all the questions. I'm sorry, but that's why it's good to be there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was cool. It was very cool. I support Shalom, support Chris. I think Chris is incredibly talented. I'm really just waiting for him for his time, Like I'm waiting for it to catch and for whoever who puts people on to put him on as well. And Shalom is a pretty good producer. It was a very lo-fi project, so the vibe was very chill. It's a lo-fi project, more lo-fi than anything. So the vibe was chill. And I didn't know Shalom was a lo-fi producer. He said he says he's a lo-fi producer. So I didn't know that. So that's interesting. It was a good environment. A couple of people were there. And yeah, that was cool. That was the first listening party of the week, I guess.
Sounds like you had a good time. And shout out to Shalom and Chris Barr
and everyone who was part of the project.
What's the name of the project, Sam?
Sorry,
tell
I thought I said
the name
it.
of the project.
The project is called Hotbox.
You probably did.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's called the Hotbox.
Nice.
Features Ace Masiga, features Cheru, Chris Barr obviously is up there. Hope Pungu and Sed's Imagination were some of the collaborators on the project. So shout out to them. Some of them are in the building. And yeah, go pay attention. Go listen to that if you're into either Shalom or Chris Barr and Cheru. Like just listen to the project. It's very chill. It's the kind of thing where you put on when you're like just in vibe mode and just relaxing. It's not. I don't know if it's club music. If that's your thing.
Nice.
Yeah, that was the first one.
Yeah, man.
Went to another one.
I guess I could tag in because my week was good as well. I released music, which I'm really happy.
Applause for
I finally. Thank you so much, man. Yeah. I know, because it's just one person clapping.
Yeah.
Okay, I should have joined you, but anyway. But it's weird to clap for myself. So anyway, I finally released my EP, my debut EP titled IRL in Real Life.
I.R.L.
Featuring the likes of Terian, Iraqi, Zoe, Kengocha, the talented Zaituni, Wambui, and finishing it off with Stacy Kamatu. And yeah, man, it was a really dope experience to finally release. But before I even released, I had a listening party, which Sam was invited to. And
thankfully space hadn't run out.
Space
hadn't run out. I mean? You know how it's really weird, but in my brain, I'll just tell you this. In my brain, when I actually like hit you up and said I want to RSVP, in my brain, if I hadn't done that, I feel like space would have run out and I would have been part of the RSVP. And
who do you think I am?
No, it's not you. It's how my brain processes things. If I don't care whether we're friends or your family, I just feel the need. Like for me, nothing is granted, nothing is given. I must do the necessary that we need to do for me to be part of it. So I was sweating a bit later towards the end, and I was like, I had to tell myself, I mean,
you're a little bit choleric. You're a bit choleric.
A little bit.
There's a little of
a lot of it.
So had the listening party. It was at a studio in Karen called The Promised Land. And just want to shout out to the guys at Nations Connect for helping me out there with the space and everything. So that was cool. Invited a few people, I mean, just like a few industry people. want to give a big shout out to Abigail Diana from Ongeza Volume, because she helped moderate the entire listening experience. And
She did a good job
shout out
too.
to everybody. Yeah, she did a good job for sure, man. We created some side content here and there, which you guys will see in the future.
I
You'll just see
apologize.
both of us being
If you see
sorry
me in
advance,
any
man.
photos and I'm cringe, I'm so sorry. I'm not cool.
Yeah,
That's just who I am. My
I
bad.
know. It's kind of anyway. You'll see us there. And yeah, man. Listening parties, man. Super important.
It was cool. It was very cool.
Nowadays,
What was your favorite part of your listening party? And how does it feel being the center
favorite-
of attention?
Yeah, it's very overwhelming for sure. Like the whole release process is overwhelming. Thursday and Friday were very overwhelming days for sure. But it felt good to share my music with people. It's a very vulnerable moment. Just like having people listen and form opinions like right in front of you. You know what I mean?
I don't think having people listen is
but-
not the problem. Is the second part. It's the opinions. It's the opinions that we try to avoid.
Exactly. See, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So, but it's happening all at the same time, and it's it can be nerve-wracking, but I think it went pretty good. And shout out to Zaituni and Terian for being there. Obviously, Stacey Kamatu and Zoe Kengocha are out of the country, so they couldn't attend. But yeah, man, we did that, man. Sam, we really did that. So, shout out to listening parties.
Oh yeah, we need to stop
On
with
this
the shout-outs.
podcast, we shout out. No, listen.
This is a
On this
shout-out
podcast,
podcast.
we will have.
Hosted by Sam and
exactly.
Afam.
We shout out to everything. We will shout out everything, man.
No, it was cool. It was really cool. There was definitely a lot of support in there for you.
For sure.
And again, like the venue and everything, that was fun. The food that was presented, also people seemed to eat food and enjoy themselves. So
Okay.
yeah.
So Sam, so here's the thing. So now, I'm busy trying to like set up for a listening party, and now I had to sit down and realize, because I was limited. I could only invite around like 25 people, max 30, but mostly it had to be 25 because of the restrictions in terms of the space that we had, right? So now I had to sit down and really think about who to invite and what to prioritize. So I genuinely couldn't prioritize everyone, because genuinely, like, I had to be very selective as to who I can invite. And so I had to make a decision. Am I inviting friends? Am I inviting fellow creatives like artists or producers? Or, Sam, am I inviting music industry gatekeepers? Like, do you want to play the music for like the people who make shit pop and move in the industry? You know what I mean? Like, because I guess they like that stuff. Like, just like being, we're listening to this, it's exclusive, because you know what I mean? So I had to make that decision, because obviously if I could do more than one listening party, then I would definitely do one that's more casual, just like for my friends and my family, and like, you know what I mean? Yeah, and that would be nice, but like I just couldn't, because obviously budget and just time. And yeah, so I settled more for like the more music industry side, which, like I was alluding to in the beginning of when I started, like, it is a bit stressful figuring out like, okay, who am I gonna invite now at this point? Because now I know it's industry people I'm trying to invite, and it got me thinking, bro, about just like, who are the right people to invite to your listening party, Sam? Who do you like, especially if you're trying to do an industry one? Like, who are you trying to like invite? If you had to do it, like, what's the profile of person that you would invite to your listening party?
Why the gatekeepers, of course.
Yes, but like, tell me like the profile of people that you would invite to your listening party.
Well, to my, if I was to do a listening party, I'm going to, The rebel in me would just want to invite like friends and family.
Yes, but I'm saying like if you're trying to do industry, like what's the profile?
Okay, if I had to, first someone who had to convince me to do that. Then if I was hard to, the profile of people who I would invite would be, people who have people. I'm not exactly sure what you're asking, but people who have like some sort of pull, play, some sort of influence, someone who can, who has the power to place the project. First of all, someone who's objective, right? I don't just want someone who can come and sit down and say, "Oh, this was amazing," and then they leave, and that's the end of that. No, someone who's objective, but also someone who has the power to place it, or who has the power to give it some legs, to move, to put. I don't know what you're asking. Is that what you're asking? Have I answered your question? Or am I off?
I don't know why you're sounding like this is so. No, you've answered it perfectly. Like that's what I'm asking. Like what's your profile of person?
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. Like I feel like you want people who can, potentially, if you're going the music industry route, like also use their platforms to kind of get the message out there that like there is something coming. This is the music. Also, you might want to invite people who, are tastemakers in their field, and they can actually
influence the culture.
Like you said, influence the culture, the movers and shakers. You know what I mean?
So really, someone who can influence the industry and someone who can influence the culture.
Exactly. And like Sam kind of mentioned earlier, man, gatekeepers, bro.
It's the gate.
So It's the gatekeepers. And it got me thinking, man, what is a gatekeeper, or who is a gatekeeper, especially like when we're talking about music industry? And I think the lowest hanging fruit would be like media personalities, like people in radio. I feel like people like radio is the biggest like gatekeeper in our industry. Just radio in general.
Are you speaking about our current industry or just in general?
In the Kenyan industry.
Okay.
In the Kenyan music industry.
Perhaps. Because radio still holds like a bit of importance in terms of the placement of music.
So definitely I feel like you would need a few people in radio there. You'd need somebody just to kind of, you know what I mean? Because, listen. And that's maybe like the actual front-facing like media like personalities, or maybe even if you know a few producers and stuff like that, you might want them there. Here's the thing. Playlisters. What do you think about playlisters? Like on like people who curate playlists, like either on Apple Music. Do Apple Music even have? Bro, Apple Music is such a mystery to me. I never use that platform.
You should just pay for Apple Music just to go and look over it. They don't have a free option. That's the problem. See, that's why Spotify I think has a lot more players, because Spotify has a lot more subscribers. Spotify has just a lot more. You can just get on there, and of course the ads are terribly annoying, but you can still be there. Apple Music don't do that at all. So it's more of a mystery. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But that's why they are part of the biggest company in the world in terms of the monetary value.
Exactly.
Yep. Anyway.
Yeah, so I guess playlisters for sure. You want to have a few of them. By the way, I'm not even outlining people that I had come through for my listening. I'm kind of just saying like what I was thinking at the time in terms of who, like the profile of person that I would like invite.
Yeah,
you want a few A&Rs in the building. A few philo types of individuals. By the way, guys, we have a very amazing interview with Philip Koth that you guys can go back and listen to. It's with one of the best A&Rs in the country right now. Who else? People in labels, for sure, bro. Like people in labels are gatekeepers for sure. You want them to hear that stuff. Who else?
Other successful artists would be gatekeepers. Artists who have they have the accolades, and they have the social currency. Yeah, because then they have a pool, they have a say in terms of what people should be listening to.
What goes.
Or what they like. They become, it's weird because they're fine, they're tastemakers, but then they're just firmly in the industry. So then they automatically become gatekeepers.
Exactly. Who else?
Who else is in there?
Journalists, music journalists, like even people like with blogs, that vlogs, like just people who kind of like document the goings in the music industry for sure.
Yeah. Producers, I don't know if you mentioned that, like music producers and whatnot, they also could be gatekeepers in terms of like if a label has an album coming out, right, and they pick a producer, to work on it, and that producer then has the power to say, okay, no, and let's say that producer is like really successful, right? A producer has the power to say, let's have this person on the album. No, I don't like this person because I'm not really messing around with their music that much. Let's put this guy. And then now they automatically begin to, on the other side now as the artist, you look at the producer as, okay, he's gatekeeping. Like he's putting on what he wants to put on because he has the pull and the play and the say, I guess, to do that. So producers can be. I'm trying to figure out whether there's another player in the industry, like in the creation of music, that could also qualify as gatekeepers. In the creation? Yeah.
In the creation of music, who could...
Is it just the artist and the producer?
Who creates music? I mean, engineers, but engineers aren't really gatekeepers. Well, they could be.
How? How could engineers be gatekeepers? It's a very technical...
Wait, why are you looking down on? Okay,
no. I know how that came out. No, that's not what I meant.
But I mean, an engineer could also, like, because of the nature of their work, right? They would have interacted with a lot of people in the industry, so they may also have connections. So maybe they wouldn't gatekeep by engineering, but because of their connections, they could be mini A&Rs. Like an engineer could have a connect with somebody just because they've worked with them heavy. Maybe.
That's true.
I don't know.
Okay.
Am I reaching?
True.
Is that a reach?
Yeah, kind of, but it's true. It has some truth. It has some truth. No, it definitely has some truth to it.
Yeah.
I just don't know if their influence stretches past, because they're not, their role in terms of the music is, it's not, we don't see it. Let me just say it this way. The role in music is not seen as like a major role. And so the influence they have might be slightly limited.
That's so frustrating to me because engineers are everything, man. Yeah, like, bro, that's why I'm so frustrating.
As I'm saying it, I'm thinking about it. I'm like, oh man, I don't know. Like, I don't agree with this at all.
They do the bulk of the work. And they're regarded as the least important. Bro, that makes me want to tear my skin. But Sam, I'm not going to lie, I had like a negative connotation when you were saying the word gatekeeping. Yeah. I can't lie. Like, we just talked about it like with producers gatekeep. Bro, why is there such a negative connotation to the word gatekeeper?
Oh, that's because...
why?
It's just naturally, inherently a negative thing. It's... People just regard... Whenever we see someone see someone with power, I think this is a human thing. When you see someone with power, all of a sudden, it just feels negative. It's like, why? Why do they have the power over me and my music? Like, they shouldn't.
And I get that, it's frustrating. But bro, I can't. Listen, I have to just say this. Sometimes I think it's necessary. Sometimes I think it's necessary to have gatekeeping.
Oh no!
But it's true though.
Let's go through this. I'm interested.
Listen, I know that's an unpopular opinion. Right?
You forgot to add very. You forgot to add very before popular. Very before unpopular.
And I know we're digressing from our original conversation, but like I just have to like put this out. Bro, like sometimes gatekeepers are very necessary for an industry. Right. I know that might sound like a crazy thing to say, but it's true.
You made a crazy claim, you have the burden of proof. Let's go.
See, listen, I think, one, I have to premise this with the gatekeeper in question has to be somebody, in my opinion, who is competent at what they do. We have to start there. Obviously, if a gatekeeper is busy just using their power for like their own friends and family, then they're trash, and that's horrible. Because you don't want a gatekeeper who that only just that is detrimental for the whole industry. That I agree with. If a gatekeeper is using their platform for selfish reasons, then that's trash. But I think gatekeepers are important because of quality control. Sam, I swear, like if a gatekeeper is competent in what they do, right? If somebody, like for example, let's say they were like a super like acclaimed artist, right? They were in bands and then they released their own music, and now they got into like the music business side, and they are like somebody with a position of power in like an or whatever. They've gone through it. They've gone through the whole process of being an artist now to being an executive. So they understand what it takes to be a good artist, and they can also use now their position to put people in position, you know what I mean? Because they know the credible, like, or they know what's credible, they know what's good, you know what I mean? Right? And I think that's very important to have that quality standard upheld. Otherwise, if not, then it's just the Wild West and everyone is just doing everything and everyone is getting positions for everything. And where's the quality? We kind of need like some semblance of control. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. And yes, I know there's a negative connotation with the word gatekeeper, but I don't think it always has to be negative.
Well, okay.
And I have another one.
Yeah, wait.
Okay, do you want to give me a rebuttal for that?
So to some extent,
yeah.
To some extent, I agree. Yes, gatekeepers do. So the problem with your statement comes when we feel like gatekeeping is not the quality that they're talking about is not objective, and that becomes an even bigger thing. Because if I think about it now, you know how we keep saying that art is subjective. Gatekeeping, I mean the gatekeep. I only grant your side of that argument if we can ensure that there's an objective. There's an objective way to grade what quality is. Because if it's subjective, then one gatekeeper could say, this is very quality. Then the other gatekeeper could say, okay, no, we're not putting this on because I don't think it's quality. And then what happens there? So I do understand your point, but then I feel
but my argument is that this person has been in the industry. So they have, we're not just putting some random into the office or into that position of power. And although that happens a lot of times where like people who don't really understand the music industry get into positions of power. In my example, I'm saying if somebody who's been through it has that position, then they can ensure that there's only quality that's going through. You know what I mean? And so for me, I think that actually makes more sense. Because if it's somebody who doesn't understand what it takes to be a good musician and what it takes to have like an opportunity to like now really like give this artist or this person like exposure, like they don't understand like even what that means, then obviously they're just gonna put a lot of trash out there, like, or put a lot of trash in that position of power, and then what's gonna happen after that? Nothing but chaos. So I think sometimes gatekeepers help with that quality control. You know what I mean?
Okay. All right. Sure.
Yeah. It's facts. And then also, and this is one that has been boiling in my body. It's been in my blood. I feel like gatekeepers they should use their positions to gatekeep culture. I know that might sound crazy, but I think
that statement alone, before you explain it, I just want to say that statement sounds absolutely ridiculous, and I'm appalled.
I know right now I sound so. I know I sound crazy, but sometimes I feel like culture needs to be gatekept. And this is my example, and I like to give this example a lot. Like, okay, one, I do understand that sometimes culture needs to be disseminated, and then there'll be more harmony, we're sharing and all that stuff, and that's fine. But a lot of times people use culture for their own personal benefit. And we've seen that happen a lot in the music industry, right? And for me, it's like, okay, like people can use culture to like further their own narratives, and that's fine as long as they understand the cultural implications of what they're doing, and that's great. But if you don't, then it becomes detrimental to said culture. And I think sometimes culture needs to be kept from people who are only using it for their own short-term goals and short-term benefit, right? And that's why I think gatekeeping is very, very important in that scenario.
Yes, but now if you have people, okay, if it's being used for positive, yes. But then the problem is that when you, I don't trust human beings, because the moment you give them the power to gatekeep culture, then that's when they begin to gatekeep it for their own sects and groups and push their own agendas, and then it becomes a problem. Do you ever see where gatekeepers have to gatekeep culture positively, like as to what you're saying? Because most of the time we look at gatekeepers gatekeeping culture, it's just a negative. It's not a very common occurrence for it to be like done in a positive way.
Yeah, we see examples. I mean, the examples I have might not necessarily be music industry, but the examples are there for like if you look at certain genres of music, like literally the like hip hop scene in America, for example, right? Like you see a bunch of like white artists trying to like make like a bunch of like bops, and it kind of gets like problematic at some point, because then it just looks like a caricature of what the culture actually is. And we've seen a lot of like artists like gatekeep that like black, like what they call the urban culture, from those people who are only just kind of using it because that's like what they want to benefit from at the time. You know what I mean? And I personally think it's important, right? And no, I'm not trying to say that everybody could just stay with their culture. Obviously, like I said, if you understand what you're doing and why you're doing it, then it's fine. But you know what I mean? And another example I have is like with like Amapiano and stuff like that. Like, I know for a fact, if you ask South Africans about how they feel about how Amapiano has really been diluted from what its pure essence was to what it is now, and how it's used now, or how certain elements are used now, a lot of them will feel kind of hard done by. And yes, I know, fine, like that sound is spreading and it helped like make Amapiano more mainstream.
The Amapiano's sound has evolved past its original.
But are people, do you think if you asked all of these artists if they're happy with the evolution, do you think all of them, like a big percentage of them, would be happy?
I think they'll be happy to the extent that it benefits them, obviously. So if it's not benefiting them, then for sure they're not happy about it. And it becomes, they took our thing. Why?
It's like when Sway Lee was asked about Amapiano, and the first example he gave about hearing it was Nigeria. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm a South African, I'm like, bro,
but see, that ultimately doesn't benefit.
Hot.
That ultimately doesn't benefit. Like, I get it, but that ultimately doesn't benefit, because if let's say they get kept, or whoever restricted Amapiano from taking its different forms and evolving, right? Then Amapiano doesn't necessarily become what it is today, and maybe it's not as popular as it is currently. So yeah,
I see that.
It's I
don't know.
Yeah, it's when you start bringing culture into it, I think it becomes a more dense conversation. Like it's a little bit more complex than just what the surface and what we talk about. But
yeah, I guess so. But I don't know. I think gatekeepers do have, like, especially if they are like doing what they need to be doing, and like I said, not to belabor the point, but not using
positive
it for their own
gatekeeping is a
whatevers,
great thing.
then yeah, exactly.
Positive
gatekeeping
is
that's the thing.
Is a great thing.
Yes.
And I guess if I was to think about like other aspects, I think gatekeepers, but just because if you have a gatekeeper who, number one, who is knowledgeable, and two, who has a little bit of influence, and they know what good music is, then the artists who make good music tend to benefit from that, right? So if I am in a pool of 10 artists who their music is not, since we're being objective here, their music is not objectively good, and we're all looking for placement somewhere on a playlist or radio or whatever it is, right? Then I get to benefit because if my music is good and they pick, and of course the gatekeeper, if he's knowledgeable, if she's knowledgeable, they're going to single me out in whatever way, and then it's going to be, okay, you. Then I get to benefit financially. I get to benefit in terms of looks. It's that whole thing of the rich get richer, where since I am positively, there's a positive reception of my art, to whoever is in these positions, then I get to be in front of more people, and I get more shows, and I get more placement, which ultimately means more money in my pocket. So in that aspect, I do understand your argument where gatekeepers can be beneficial and useful to the industry. Do you think gatekeepers are more detrimental to the industry then? I think gatekeepers are more because, just because I feel like human beings are, and I don't want to get into a whole philosophical thing, but human beings, or rather, let me put it this way: we tend to see the more negative sides. The negative impacts seem to be more amplified than the positive. Like I know there are positive gatekeepers. I know, like everything you've talked about, I know they're there, but we never hear about them. The more fun conversation is, or the more prominent conversation is, the person who kept you from getting onto a playlist, or the person who kept you from getting from doing the show, or doing that, going on to that radio time slot and promoting yourself. So yeah, there's positive, but then I feel like the negative gatekeepers have more shine. They're highlighted more.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, shout out to gatekeepers.
I don't know how I feel. Yeah. Shout out to the positive gatekeepers. Negative ones, you guys.
Shout out to the positive ones. Shout out to the positive ones. Yeah. Okay, so moving on, there was I guess the IFPI report for 2025 came out, and yeah, man, the IFPI guys they usually have a yearly global music report that kind of tells us how well or how badly the music industry is doing. And they usually have a Cliff Notes option, which is free, and they have the main one, which is has all the data and all the nitty-gritties if you're a geek and a nerd and you want to see that, but usually you have to pay for that version. So yeah, the report is out, and yeah, man, they I guess they compile all the data that's super important. The IFPI, who are the IFPI, Sam?
The IFPI, the International Federation of the Phonographic Industry. There's a lot of long words. It's an organization that just basically it represents the industry. So there's
for sure
different players of the industry in all the different sectors that are involved in it, and then they compile reports and look at trends and that kind of thing. So I guess they're the taste makers of the industry.
And so, Sam, I looked at the report and we're doomed.
We're doomed. We can't be here.
It's over. It's over, Sam.
Done.
It's done. We're done.
No one
it's done. The music industry
anymore.
is finished.
Yeah, we're cooked.
Yeah, it's. Let's just wrap it up. Let's wrap it up, man.
Completely
okay,
cooked.
I'm exaggerating. Sorry, but
you are exaggerating.
Wait,
sorry. Before you continue, you're exaggerating. If you do look at the report, there's a lot of green. There's a lot of positives. The growth is. There's growth. It's just not as big. So I guess
Exactly.
yeah, that's why I say you're
And that's problematic. The growth, they say this year was 4.8% of the revenue growth throughout the year. And typically the number has usually been higher. So I think there's a slowed rate of growth. And, I think the streaming era is finally maturing in most sectors.
Yeah.
Obviously, sectors such as Africa are still
fighting
budding. But if we're talking about like Asia, we're talking about Europe, we're talking about the Americas, or actually just North America, those sectors are maturing and they're already looking at new ways to monetize. But yeah, man, like, bro, it's not looking good for the rest of the world.
I mean, like you said, 4.8% of just like a general growth.
Yes.
Europe was like an 8.3% growth. America was kind of low, like just a 2% growth.
It's like
2% growth, which is not that great.
But you see, this is what like explains, like, for example, recently they've been upping the subscription prices for the streaming platforms.
Yeah.
And so now once you start to understand, this is why that's happening. We had a different podcast where we talked about the whole user-centric model and streaming 2.0.
Yeah.
Like, this is why it's happening. It's because less and less new people are subscribing to the apps, and less new people are spending money, and they need that.
And streaming has overtaken the revenue in terms of, I think I saw that somewhere, streaming being the majority of the revenue of music worldwide.
But when they say that, it's mostly just streaming as a function of people paying subscription. Because from what I can see here, it's like 51% of the revenue that comes into the music industry is through subscriptions. And that's also very interesting. That is very interesting to me. 69% of the total revenue, which equates to about $20 billion that came out from 2024, is from streaming alone. And a whopping 51%. The total from streaming is 69%, and 51% of that is through subscriber or subscriptions, which is just very, I don't know. And then the rest is through... is gonna be through like the ads, like people who go on like the free tiers, and then there's like ads and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, and
so
and just on that, like on the same report, they just reported that like the platforms with like ads supported streaming, their growth was like really low. Really low.
And that's us. That's where we are. That's like our sector.
Unfortunately.
But yeah, I think it's just like I always say, once they unlock the way to make, but it's the argument always goes deeper than just like it goes into economics, because it's gonna be hard to convince Africans to prioritize paying for streaming platforms when everything is in disarray.
Just because
I don't know if you've been on Corrupt Talk.
Oh yeah, yes,
Sam.
I have been on there. I love it. I love Corrupt Talk.
Bro, for as long as all our leaders are gonna be corrupt, like people spending $10, $11 to $15 a month to pay for streaming subscriptions is not gonna be a reality.
The economic
in Africa anyway.
Yeah, the economic plane of just a lot of our countries, a lot of the African countries, just it's not at a place where people are comfortable. And I'm talking about okay, let me not mention what class, but then people are not comfortable in giving out that extra. And now that Netflix, Spotify, they keep raising those prices up to $10, $11, $15, $20. That's not very realistic, just because of where the economies are. So that's a problem that we might keep having until we fix the other problem, which is political, and we don't need to get into that.
Yeah. And I think what they're gonna do now is just try and figure out new ways to monetize. And I think they're experimenting. You look at like streaming platforms like Twitch and all those, like I guess their dynamic is they get money through one, subscribers, and also people donating. I think they've tried to see if people would actually donate money like to the artists.
Yeah.
They've also tried to make some of these artists streamers. I've seen Cruel Santino streaming a lot on Twitch of late.
Yeah.
But they're gonna try and figure out like experiment with very, very different like models of monetization. I don't know. I feel like AI is gonna play a part in the next frontier, but like I'm pretty sure there are interns somewhere like locked in a room trying to figure out what's next after streaming. Because
Yeah.
I think
Interns.
streaming just they're locked in a sweatshop somewhere, just like
That's crazy.
bro, racking their brains trying to come up with the next
A
thing.
minimum wage.
And I don't know. Imagine, and I don't know what the next thing is gonna be, but like, it's just so crazy to me still that we're thinking about going on to the next thing, but they haven't even
Figured out
really like
the current
fleshed
thing.
out. Because
Yeah.
and what's happening in Africa? Because bro, like they said, the total revenue generated from sub-Saharan Africa was $110 million, which in my opinion, compared to the overall amount
20 what
of
billion?
revenue in it was the overall amount of revenue generated in the music industry last year was 29 billion.
Yeah.
So $110 million compared to that is from a whole continent. It's so bad.
That's problematic. It's so I do understand it, because I feel like outside of Africa, outside of where we are, maybe there are more, and that's what I was saying. Like I would like to see the numbers in terms of like the different demographics and how much they are bringing into the streaming game, and even just like record sales and stuff. But then I feel like outside of Africa, there's just a lot wider field of people who have the economic capability to actually pay for these subscriptions, and because of that stream more, which then affects the numbers in the music industry. So it does make sense, but then it's still kind of sad. It's like, oh wow. Just 110 million isn't fun.
And so when you hear like, oh, sub-Saharan Africa is the highest or is the fastest growing like sector, that's great, but also it's like really small.
When you look at the numbers,
like,
that smile, the excitement just fades away really quickly.
So I don't know. I think the music industry in the next 10 years is going to be very different or very interesting, because like I think they're actively looking for what's next.
Yeah. I mean, some of the challenges that they're obviously facing and the big one is the AI discussion and just figuring out how to properly copyright that, because I think as technology really is what pushes things forward, or forces new versions of whatever it is. And so now technology is presenting a new version of creativity to us in terms of AI. And so now we have to figure out how to get that right. Of course, this is a conversation that has been beat down, but then we have to figure out how to get that right as we go, because then that will be a huge part of how people create and how people consume music in the future. So it's interesting, man. I really hope there are a bunch of smart people on some of those answers. I mean, looking for some of those answers. And just continued investment. Like, we need to see more. Yeah. We need to continue to see investment into artists and art itself, rather than focus on the business around it and make the business the main thing. Because it almost feels like that. It almost feels like the business around music and contracts and all that stuff is the main thing, and just how to make more money from music rather than the music itself. I don't know if it's possible to detach those two things, but that's kind of how I feel when I look at the field now. It's just all about the look and the money and everything around the music rather than the music itself. So I really do wish that as we continue, we can find ways in all the different fields, sub-Saharan Africa, in Europe, in the Americas, like we find ways to. We always forget about Australia as well. We find ways to make art, put art in the forefront of music again. But yeah,
make music great again, I guess.
Make music great again, for sure.
Oh no, actually, I hate that I said that now that I said it. Anyway, shout out to IFPI. I need to stop doing that. New music, bro. What were you listening to this week?
New music, a couple of drops. Let me mention some of the ones that I listened to. MATATA and Bien dropped a song called Mpishi, which is MATATA I'm starting to see a formula in their music. Like I don't know if you listen to it, but it's called Itakubalika, right? When the music starts, it starts and then the beat drops out and then it continues later. They did that same formula in this music. I don't know whether they're trying to experiment on something, but then it was interesting. It was cool. I like Bien's verse. I almost always like Bien's verses on things. But yeah, so that was cool to listen to that. I don't know if there's a video for that. I haven't seen it yet, but they might put one out. Flyer dropped Wanawake Wanataka Maendeleo. And it's Flyer music. If you are a big Flyer fan, I think you would enjoy that. As I mentioned earlier, Shalom dropped Hotbox, a 9-song project. It's a 9-song project. Will it be an EP or an album? Let's just call it an album. It's a musical project. Features Hopungo, features Ace Masega, Sets Imagination, features Cheru, and features Chris Barr. Chris Barr being the main collaborator on the project. So it's kind of a joint project between both of them. So that's cool. Lo-fi vibes, go check that out. And who else? Oh, I really, I think the last one I'll mention, I really liked a song by X Da Bass and Nesmburu called Twekaga. It's Afro House, but I really enjoyed that one, so I just wanted to highlight that a little bit. And yeah, those are some of the, apart from your project, but we'll get to that. Those are some of the ones that I listened to. Yeah. What about you?
Yeah. I listened to Nitakupanga by Shanam MG, Brida Saru, and Motif Didon. Like you, I listened to Wanawake Wanataka Maendeleo. Did you talk about Back to Basics by Umoja Sounds? And Kun Keyani, The Jedi. That was pretty nice. Iken, before I go away, bro, he's been promoting that like crazy on TikTok. So shout out to Iken, Silas Piper, and Verona, who some told me was Silas Piper's
I found that
guitar.
interesting. I think Verona is if I'm not wrong, is Silas Piper's guitar, and she gets to get royalties. So imagine your guitar is earning royalties. That's
I like it.
Fantastic.
I like it. That's innovation right there. There was Nijaribu by 8th Street Gang. I believe we played 8th Street Gang like a long time ago in this podcast. I'm pretty sure we did.
Yes, we did. We did. I was thinking about it. I think, we did. We played them once.
We did. Shout out to the Drillers, still going on. There was No Hala by Nasibi that I also listened to. And Natesa by Isam Gavi and Mali the Sejai. Sagi.
One of those three.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those three. And then I hear it's Meli, the SAGI. Anyway, so shout out to both of them. I think also Shekina Karen released a song with Caterpillar. Speaking of yes, with Caterpillar.
Yep. That was.
And I think speaking of Shekina, I think she recently did a diss track against Diana Cords. I'm pretty sure that's like making the streets do the thing out there. So listen, if Diana Cords responds, I have a feeling she won't respond, but who knows? If she does, I'll come back here with an update on how that's going.
Yeah, we can dive into the Shekina and
let's
Diana
deep
Cords
dive into that.
So apart from all of those, you dropped some music, and I would like
I did
like to I'm putting you on I'm putting you on your own podcast. Yeah, I'm putting you on your own podcast.
Thank you.
We're there for the project. Everyone loved the project. There was a lot of good things to say. I love the project as well. So
I hope so.
Yes, it's just interesting to see it take life and bloom into what it is supposed to be as time passes, and so congratulations on that, I guess.
Thank you.
Now I'm trying to figure out who to which song to play? You know what? We're good. Let's do, because Top was a single, so we won't do Top.
Yeah.
Let's playlist Not the One. So I think that's the one. I think that's the one. Not the One is the one. I think that's the one we play. So if you would allow me to play a song from your own EP. If you we're going to go with Afamefuna, Zaituni Wambui, track 4 out of the IRL EP, Not the One.
You wanna taste of this, you want me. You want me to be yours, you want me for keeps. Tempted by my hips, infatuated by my ways. The vision your mind can't erase. Oh, please, you say please be with me, but I know I'm not what you need. Set me free, come on, set me free. Please let me be. I am not the one that you're looking for. I am not the one that you're looking for. I am not the one that you're looking for. Ooh, sijidanganye, sijidanganye. I am not the one that you're looking for. I am not the one that you're looking for. I'm just minding my own business. A girl can look good in the streets. I'm wondering what this is. Skiza, skiza, skiza tena. Usije ukajajionea sinema. What you need I cannot give. I'm working on my business. Usije sumbue. I am not the one that you're looking for.
That was Afam and Zaituni Wambui, the wonderfully talented Zaituni Wambui, with Not the One. And yeah, man, just that a good project, very dancey, very, very dancey. It's all women on there, and the interludes are also pretty good. The interludes are very emotional, so if you're into emotional interludes, go check that out. But yeah, man, congratulations. You still,
thank you so much.
Still escaping the question of which song is your favorite, but it's all right. I'll catch you some other time.
No, I answered it on the.
You can't say all of them
in the listening.
All of them is not the answer we're looking for.
No, I actually did answer it in the listening party. If you were listening.
Yeah, but anyway, man. Again, congratulations on that. Now there's pressure on me to release music,
bro.
so I need to release some music. But
I appreciate it, man. And as always, guys, thank you guys so much for listening to us. That was episode 123. I like to end this podcast with the 3 C's. If you're new here, and you're wondering what those are, they are confidence. I need you guys to be confident in your work. If you're an artist, I need you to be confident in your art because that's what people consume. I also need you to be consistent, and this goes across all industries. If you're in the creative industry, I need you to be both consistent in the creation of what you're doing and also its distribution/release. You need to be consistent because there are so many people doing things nowadays. The markets are all saturated with people creating things, and you need to stand out. And the people who stand out the most are the people who are consistent. And lastly, craft. Always work on your craft. If you only have 5 minutes in your day to spare those 5 minutes, especially if you're a creative. I know you might be doing something else to kind of fund your creative career. And if you are, I know your day might be very busy. But if you have 5 minutes, and I'm sure you have 5 minutes at some point of your day, dedicate that to your craft, and it adds up and it'll bear dividends in the future. Sam?
Yeah. Don't have anything to add onto that. Those are very, very, very useful words that we should all use.
And
all right. Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah.
Bye, guys. We'll see you in episode 124.